In this video, we're going to talk through a couple of the key elements on the PLC rigs. So all PLC stations will have a control panel on the front. That's one of our main kind of user interface sections. As well as the rig being mechanically assembled and already wired up first and pneumatically plumbed up as well, we have the ability to add in some additional inputs and outputs across on the front panel. So that gives us additional functionality to add in our additional capability. You'll see on the top we have most of our setup all pre-configured first, and then we just need to be able to code it for our PLC class. We draw your attention to making sure that we've got compressor, so compressed air feeding in for the main supply for the pneumatic parts. So we've got a compressor hooked up over here. Also for the pneumatics, we need power for the electro-pneumatics and obviously to run the PLC and indeed the electrical or electronic equipment on it. So where we get that is from our PLC itself. You'll see there should be a power cable that comes in and around to the back of the PLC. And then once we hook that up to mains, we'll essentially get power distributed to our PLC rig. Now how that happens is we have the power supply here. It gives power up to our PLC, and then it also distributes power to our inputs and outputs across here. You'll see in these big long cables into our PLC rig. So it converts it into 24 volts DC and distributes it across. The other important setup, so that's what we've got air, make sure we've air set up to it. All PLC rigs will take air bar one of them. And we need power supply hooked in. We also need communication. So you'll see our Ethernet port in the top left. We'll need Ethernet communication so we can connect to our PLC, to our network, or to our laptop to be able to code it. And then we've got to make sure as well with our I/O cables, these two cables here, one of these cables, the left-hand side one, so the left-hand side one always goes up to the top. So again, that breaks out power to our sensors, our inputs and outputs. It's all nicely wired there. And we also have this cable on the right that comes into the back of the control panel. So always the right-hand cable into the back of the control panel, and always the left-hand cable up to the top. And that's basically how we get set up for our rigs, some of the key elements on it. So essentially air supply, electrical power, comms, and then making sure you have these configured correctly. Left-hand side cable into the top of the board and the right-hand side cable into the backboard.